The wormhole. For years, everyone talked about the Upside Down like it was just a darker copy of Hawkins. Everyone said it was a parallel world, sitting beside ours. Volume 2 flips that completely. It reframes the Upside Down as something way more dangerous, because it's not a destination, it's a connection, it's a bridge, and the wormhole stretches between 2 points that should never touch. Now that's why the rules feel inconsistent. It's why places line up, but time and physics do not always behave like they should. The Upside Down is not its own planet. It's a corridor cut through space and time. It's stabilized long enough to be walked through, but still unstable enough to punish anyone who stays inside it too long. This also changes what the meat wall represents. It's not just a gross barrier. It is the physical structure of the bridge itself, like the walls of a tunnel. And tunnels can collapse. Now that's the nightmare hiding inside the reveal. If this bridge fails, it does not just strand people. It threatens to take whole sections of Hawkins with it. And once you see it that way, Vecna's endgame makes more sense. He isn't just simply invading. He is trying to force two ends of reality together. The Upside Down is the device, not the world. A wormhole that can be widened, weaponized, and finally merged. The abyss. The wormhole reveal leads to an even darker idea. If the Upside Down is the bridge, then what is it actually connecting us to? Volume 2 points to the answer with one word that changes everything. The abyss. This is not just another layer of the Upside Down. It's treated like the source, the place where the oldest darkness lives. This abyss can also be called Dimension X, the realm where Henry Creel was banished to. It's a realm that feels less like a world and more like a hostile environment. It's something raw and ancient that does not care about humans at all. The Upside Down becomes the hallway. The abyss becomes the house. This matters because it reframes Vecna too. A lot of fans assumed he ruled the Upside Down, that the entire ecosystem was built around him. Volume 2 suggests a different picture. Vecna is hiding deeper than anyone realized. He is recovering, shaping, waiting inside the abyss where the rules are even less human. It also explains why the show keeps emphasizing particles and contamination. Whatever lives in the abyss does not just stay there. It spreads, it infects, it attaches itself to living things and then uses them as carriers. That is why Demogorgon's release that black substance is so frightening. So when the characters talk about stopping Vecna, the real question becomes bigger. Are they fighting one villain, or are they fighting the place that made him possible? Because if the abyss is the origin point, then killing Vecna might not be the final step. It might just be the first. Henry Creel's cave. The cave is one of the most important locations in Volume 2 because it exposes the first crack in Henry Creel's story. Now, we all know that Henry does not chase Max inside the cave, and he appears terrified of it. That alone tells you it's not just terrain. It's trauma. In Volume 2, Max and Holly push deeper and find the reason. They drop down into an old shaft, and it feels like the memory itself is bleeding. There is blood on the ground. There is heavy breathing echoing off the stone. Then, they see him. A man gripping a briefcase like it's the only thing keeping him alive. He aims a gun at them and shouts as if someone tracked him there. But he is not yelling at Max and Holly. He's yelling at a child. Young Henry steps into view wearing his scout uniform, trying to play innocent and calm the man down. It does not work. The man panics, shoots Henry in the hand, then lines up another shot. Henry charges him. Henry ends up killing this man, but then comes the real mystery. Henry opens the briefcase, but the show cuts away before we see what's inside. In the play, The First Shadow, it's revealed that this man was a Russian spy. Stealing military tech inside the briefcase is actually technology linked to Dimension X. And when Henry opens it, he is transported to Dimension X for 12 hours. This is when the Mind Flayer's particles first infect Henry, and he changes forever. Kali's plan. Kali's return in Volume 2 is not framed like a fun reunion, it feels like a warning. Now this is because she's not showing up to join the gang and celebrate. She shows up because she has a solution that is colder than anyone realizes. Kali has seen what happens when governments get their hands on people like her. She has lived as proof that the world does not stop chasing you just because you win one battle. And that is why her logic hits so hard. Even if Vecna dies, even if one lab burns, someone else will rebuild it. Someone will keep trying to extract blood, copy powers, and manufacture more kids like 11. In Kali's eyes, the cycle does not end until the source is gone. So her plan is not just to stop Vecna. Her plan is to stop the world from ever creating another Vecna. And that is where the sacrifice idea comes in. Colley's argument is basically this: if the bridge collapses and you are still standing on it, then the hunt ends. No blood samples, no new numbers, no replacements. That puts Eleven in a nightmare decision, because Eleven's whole identity is built around surviving, escaping, choosing life. Colley is asking her to choose the opposite for a reason that is almost impossible to argue against logically, but emotionally devastating, and that is why Callie works so well in the story right now. She's not a villain, she's the person saying the quiet part out loud. Sometimes the only way to win is to remove the weapon completely, even if you are the weapon. Will's powers. Will's power arc in Volume 2 is interesting because it's not framed like a gift. It's framed like a leak, something seeping through cracks that were never sealed properly. When Will taps into the hive, it is not like Eleven reaching out into the void and grabbing control. It's more like Will getting too close to a live wire and realizing the current is already running through him. Volume 2 reinforces that Will is not generating power. He's a sorcerer, and that means every moment he uses that power comes with a question. If the power is Vecna's, then does using it bring Will closer to stopping Vecna, or closer to becoming useful to him again? Now, that's why the limitation matters. Eleven can act anywhere, even when the Upside Down is distant. Will cannot. He needs proximity. He needs the hive. He needs that infected network nearby, and that turns him into something strategic in the finale. If the fight moves toward the bridge and toward the abyss, Will becomes relevant in a way the story has been building since Season 1. The deeper explanation points back to Will's first infection. He was taken, held in that place, and fed something organic, something carrying particles and intelligence. So even though Will escaped, he never truly left untouched. Part of that system stayed inside him. This is why he senses things, why he hears things, why the border between him and the hive has never fully closed. Will is not just a target anymore. He is a pathway, and that is both the group's biggest advantage and their biggest risk. Vecna's plan in Volume 2 becomes clearer once you accept that he's not trying to open more gates like a typical villain. He's trying to complete a merge. He wants two realities to overlap until the separation stops existing. Hawkins does not get invaded. Hawkins gets rewritten. Now that's why the children matter so much. Vecna does not just kidnap them for cruelty. He calls them vessels because he needs conductors. He needs multiple points of psychic force to reshape the bridge, widen it, stabilize it, and then drag the abyss into the real world. Volume 2 also ties this to Will in a way that is almost tragic. Vecna implies that Will has already been used before, not in one dramatic moment, but repeatedly, night after night. Will sleepwalks into the hive and helps build. Will helps create the tunnel network that later becomes the highway for Demogorgons and Demodogs. Even if Will never meant to, even if he did not understand it, the guilt is real because the damage is real. The merge plan also explains why Vecna's tactics feel psychological. He does not need to win fights. He needs to break people into shapes that he can use. Fear makes them easier to control. Isolation makes them easier to manipulate. Trauma turns a person into an open door. So the stakes in Volume 2 are not just can they kill Vecna. The stakes are, can they interrupt the merge before the bridge becomes permanent? Because once two worlds fully overlap, you cannot just go and close a door. Exotic matter. Exotic matter is the detail that turns the wormhole idea from a metaphor into a mechanism. Volume 2 treats it like the single stabilizing force holding the bridge together, the thing preventing the upside-down corridor from snapping shut under its own pressure. That's why the wall matters so much. The wall is not just a weird landmark. It's the physical structure of the bridge, and exotic matter is the energy source inside it. When characters talk about damaging it, they are not talking about tearing down an obstacle. They are talking about weakening the entire system. The concept also explains why the plan to defeat Vecna becomes so extreme. If exotic matter is the stabilizer, then destroying it is not just an attack, it's a collapse event. It would sever the connection between Hawkins and the Abyss by force, and in theory that could strand Vecna, erase his pathway, and end the merge. But this is Stranger Things, so nothing is clean. If you destabilize a wormhole, you do not get a polite shutdown, you get violent consequences. Space-time does not like being folded and unfolded on command. That is why the group's plan feels so risky. They are not just fighting a monster, they are trying to detonate the architecture of reality beneath Hawkins. Exotic matter also becomes the reason the finale can go in multiple directions. It could work perfectly and close everything. It could partially collapse and leave damage, Or it could collapse at the worst moment while people are still inside. So when you hear exotic matter, the translation is simple. This is not just a science word, this is the fuse. Max escapes. Max's escape in Volume 2 is one of the most important emotional moments because it proves a rule that is bigger than her. Vecna's memory world is not just a prison, it's a system built to convince you there is no exit. But Max finds the exit anyway. Her escape starts with a choice. She chooses not to obey the logic of the place. She refuses to accept that the nightmare is permanent. She follows the trail backward through memories until it leads to something that looks like a doorway, a portal back to the body, a path out. But Volume 2 makes it clear that escape is not automatic. It's earned. It's powered by something internal. The same way a sorcerer's power comes from within, Max's survival comes from something inside her that Vecna cannot fully corrupt. Love, connection, the part of her that still believes someone is waiting for her on the other side. And that's why Max escaping while Holly fails is so brutal. It proves that the portals are real, but it also proves Vecna can intervene. He can snatch someone back mid-flight. He can override their attempt at freedom. And when Holly wakes up in the abyss instead of safety, it becomes a reminder that even success can drop you into a worse place. Max's escape also sets up the finale strategy. If Max can navigate Vecna's mind, then she becomes a guide. Someone who understands the maze because she ran it and survived it. That makes her essential if 11 has to enter that mind space again. She returns as someone with a mental map, and this could make her very useful. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, please drop a like and subscribe. I'll see you all in the next one.